This is the FitFems movement. Have you felt overwhelmed with your fitness journey and feel like you just want to give up? Are you a busy female professional or entrepreneur looking for weight loss and self-care solutions that you can squeeze into your hectic schedule? Then you're in the right place. Let's get inspired to make fitness and healthy living improve rather than consume your life. Together, we'll take major strides towards a happier, healthier, even wealthier you. I'm Julia Hickman, your host and coach. Hello, everyone. Hi, ladies. Thank you for joining us again for another episode on the FitFems movement. If you are new to me, I'm Julia Hickman, and I am the creator of this podcast and the founder of the Fashionista Online Studio, where I help busy career women and entrepreneurs make fitness improve rather than consume their lives. And really, this podcast is here to help you up-level your lives in all the other different areas that I am not an expert in. And today, I'm really excited to bring a lovely woman, Karen Perry, and she's going to bring a different twist to a lot of the different episodes that you've heard on this podcast. You may have heard from, an EFT practitioner and a money mindset coach before, but Karen really has a very unique gift, and I'm just really excited to have her talk with me on here with you guys. I've had the pleasure of experiencing, just being in Karen's space for grace. You guys will hear more about that, but couldn't think of a better word. It just fits right in there. And Karen, without further ado, please tell us a little more about you, and then we'll get started chatting about a few things that I know our listeners will want to hear.
Thank you so much, Julia. I appreciate being here with you again and with your listeners. A little bit about me. So to keep it simple is I always called myself a left brain extrovert go-getter. I was a controller, an accountant, CPA, eventually a CFO, lots of acronyms flying around, but in the business and corporate world and finance and property management, and worked a lot. And as things started to shift for me, all I knew how to do was double down and do more, work harder, put more hours in. I took, as part of my continuing education, required for my CPA was 40 hours a year, all of which just about was personal development, time management, emotional intelligence, you name it, I'm taking it for 30 years. And so for most of my life, I have been leading, helping others, and serving to build a better team and company. And my philosophy was always the greatest asset is your employees, your staff, your people, and very compassionate and kind until it all started collapsing for me. I became very high stress, anxiety, and was sitting at the doctor's office, was at the therapist's office the next day, and heard myself say aloud, I don't know who I am anymore, and I don't like who I've become. And if I don't change, I will be dead in a year because I'm on the verge of a heart attack, a stroke, or a nervous breakdown. And my life in that moment, where everything I knew how to do collapsed all around me, is like the plate spinner on stage, and it all just came falling down. And it was the greatest crisis ever, because like a phoenix, the real me was allowed to be born. And I let go willingly of everything. I mean, within 2 weeks of this particular moment I described, I was enrolled to get my coaching certification. Within a month, I had turned my notice in to quit my job. The great thing was I was able to phase myself out of that over 10 months. So that was a big part of my identity. So as my identity was falling apart, and I was discovering this pureness of who I am, it was allowed after that moment to be an easy transition. I say that, and that's 10 years ago now. And there's been a lot of dark nights of the soul. And maybe for 10 years, I've even been in this spiritual crisis. But now I've emerged, and intuitively as a child, I just knew things. And now there's intuitive gifts and energetic healing and things that make sense. Left brain, I now have merged in with the right brain. So the masculine and feminine words and pointers, left brain, right brain, introvert, extrovert. I figured out I'm all of it. And I don't have to label things as much anymore. So out of that, I was born in Space for Grace. And that's about helping people fall in love with themselves again.
I love that. And, it never ceases to just put me in this like awestruck feeling how, it takes that hitting of rock bottom for us to rise. And the thing is, it doesn't have to get to that point, right? Like you don't have to hit your rock bottom. You don't have to get to your lowest point in order to be like, okay, shit, like I need to make a change, or I need to do things differently. I need to get out of this situation, get out of this environment, get out of whatever it is, to really be your true self, your highest self, to really be able to just, like you said, fall in love with yourself and be who you are meant to be and enjoy it. And like, let go of the judgments, let go of the insecurities. And yeah, it could be easier said than done. And that's why we have experts who help us with all those things, right? Now, I know that you really talk about core energy, and you have a lot of spiritual beliefs as well. So can you tell us a little bit about core energy and how that, how you use that in like in your life with your clients, how we talked about trusting our instincts, trusting our gut. So how do you work with somebody to help them get them in that position where they are trusting themselves more, using their core energies?
Yeah. A couple of things is the biggest thing you nailed is how. The mind, the egoic concept struck always wants to know how. So yeah, but how do I do that? Just give me the steps to get there and I will do it. I'll do whatever it takes. And that often when we ask how, that to me, that's like a ding, ding, ding red flag, because we're looking outside of ourselves for that. Like, oh, I've got your answers. So my work is no, you each person has their own answers within themselves. So it kind of like one day, this acronym, I was actually working with a client, and this acronym for how came through. And I will share that now. In it, intellectually, it's like, yeah, but that's not telling me anything. And working with it, I promise, is the greatest thing ever. And I use it with my clients often, and it's priceless. So how is with the H is humility and honesty. The O is openness, and the W is willingness and wonder. So it sounds pretty simple, but it's hard. I think being really, truly honest with ourselves is we have to embrace all of it. You mentioned beliefs. I've come to like let go of every belief. And if I hear myself say I believe, it's a red flag for me now. And I'm like, wait, why? I question everything. I challenge every belief that I have. And I'm must be willing to let go of it. That to me is the true spiritual journey, is the master and the mystery all comes together, whereas we realize that everything, this oneness, it's all happening. And I am all of it, because I have been the villain and I've also been the victim. I mean, I've been the victor. I've been the yay. And I've been the one going, oh, why is this happening to me? Nothing, why are they doing that to me? So when I see that I've also been the one that does to others as well as done to me, I'm like, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. So it's like it collapses. Our own intelligence can be used in such a positive way to break down all of our constructs that are keeping us safe. So this how is working with that is helping people in great honesty and humility. And with that, it's not thinking less of yourself, but thinking of yourself less, which is C.S. Lewis's definition, which I love. And open, we have to be willing to look at things in a different way than we've been conditioned to see them. And that's often, we can do that with our inner circle. A lot of times people that annoy the crap out of us are there to help us integrate something that we don't ever want to be like that. And once we look at it, was what we're resisting so much is part of what we need to fall in love with ourselves. And I'll use from my own personal experience, lazy. Like I grew up, my mom's like, oh, your dad's so lazy. You know, he doesn't do this, he doesn't do that. Oh, we need to go get this done. We could have already had this accomplished. My mother was a go-getter. And I thought that's what you need to do. You need to be ambitious. You need to go and get this stuff done. And that energy to do it. Falling in love with my lazy self. Oh, what a gift. Like Saturday, I didn't come out of my pajamas all day. I had a blast. I mean, I was doing domestic things in the house. I was studying. I got into this particular thing that led me to the next thing. And was it a rabbit hole? No, it was like just what I needed. So I rearranged everything because this became the most important thing for me. I let go of that to embrace this. And my old self would have said, well, you're just being lazy. My new self was like a kid going, this is the greatest thing ever. And it was amazing. In the 2 or 3 days, everybody I've talked with, I'm like, oh, guess what I discovered Saturday? So it's redefining everything only by being open. And this willingness and wonder, I think I've just expressed that. I mean, you have to have this childlike curiosity to go, oh, I don't know, what's that? So when we let go of everything we think we know, because in this moment, I don't know anything. How could I? I only knew it with this set of parameters and from this point of view. And I'm not that person anymore. I am this now honest and humble and open person full of willingness and wonder that goes, and it is from that place that your own inner knowing will tell you how to proceed.
Yes. That's wonderful. Yeah. So I'm going to review that for everybody. So humility and honesty, openness and willingness and wonder. So those are the letters for how. Now, can you also tell us about, I know you love your acronyms. So you had another acronym that we talked about that you wanted to share. Can you go into some detail on that one as well, please?
Yeah, it's called 3P. 3P, the P's are pause, power, peace. So when we hear ourselves go, how, the mental racing, you just 3P, and I'm going to keep repeating it so you kind of have my voice in your head. Because you will now, I promise you, if you start to pay attention over the next few days and weeks, you'll start to hear yourself go, yeah, but how? And then you're going to hear 3P. Pause, power, peace. That pause is an opportunity to come back to yourself, come find you. And a lot of us just follow our breath. Take a few deep breaths. Just take a pause. Hit the easy button. Whatever. It's just this pause. In the pause, you find your own inner power, your strength. Not grasping and searching it for anything out there to hold on to, but it's in here. And that is the greatest power ever. And that brings you this ultimate sense of peace. It's like, oh, could it be this easy? It allows in this moment your mind to rest and to receive from this magical source, this mystery. It's really no mystery at all. It's just this place within that illuminates everything. So 3P, pause, power, peace. The
I
two
love
kind of
it.
go hand in hand together.
Yes. And so to everybody who's listening and watching, because this is also in the Facebook group, I had a session with Karen, and I got to say, the 3Ps is probably the easiest way to describe my, this journey that I went on when I had the session with Karen. So we talked about, she asked me what was something that I wanted to focus on, like something that had been weighing on my mind. And I told her that it was, trying to figure out what I wanted to do next. I had some ideas, but I was thinking too much about it, just not sure, like just too much going on in my head and not enough action. And I feel like all the questions that you asked me, Karen, they all led me to do exactly that, to pause, to realize the power that I already had in me. And then at the end, it was a lot of peace that I felt. It was like, okay, I got this. I got this. I don't need to have all the answers right now. I don't need to go, do. I can just like be. I really can just be me. And everything that I want may not happen exactly the way that I had envisioned it, but it's probably, it's probably right around the corner. I mean, we don't know timelines, right? But just be, and just, it's just like embrace peace. And it was such a great experience. And I'm still thinking about the, your wand, your rose, your rose.
Oh, it's right here. I'll show you.
There it is. I love it.
There it is. Magic.
Yep. Yes. Because, I told Karen just a couple days later, alignment, new client in what I wanted to do appeared. And it was just like, okay, it was such a big sign that, okay, like I didn't have to do anything. Like it just appeared. And it was just like, okay, things can just happen like this. I don't have to be like stressing or, doing whatever. I can just be. So
the doing comes often, it comes from that place. You tap into your power and doing naturally happens. It's, you even said a moment ago, I can't remember exactly what you said, but I wasn't taking enough action. No, it's the action happens naturally. Yes. You don't have to force it. There's nothing that you have to figure out. Yeah. So often, as a matter of fact, that actually is what causes stuckedness, and it causes that heaviness and the icky feeling is where it's called, the dialogue that happens here. It's a tool. The mind has been used to think it's in control, and we've been conditioned in our society as such. And I'm here to say, grace, let this space for grace, it's inner, it's outer, it's everywhere. There's no empty space that grace doesn't permeate. And that is this power surging up. I don't care what religion, we're not talking about that. Science, religion, spirituality, it's all pointing towards the same thing. But it's beyond a language. And all you can do is experience it. And we say, oh my God. And then it's like, oh my God, I was lost and now I'm found.
Yes.
And this great sense of peace washes over. And then the next thing, all you ever need to go is the next right step. And very, very often that is what I play with the 3P.
Yeah.
Pause. Stop the madness.
Yeah. And in my case, it was, my, business or, what I want to be doing as far as career, but this can be in anything really. Like it could be anything life related. It doesn't have to be work related. Because I feel like sometimes, and we touched on this a little bit too, it's like, women, especially mothers, we have that again, society tends to instill in us that we have to be the one doing everything, and we have to do, and it becomes really heavy for us to carry all the things that we're supposed to carry according to society, being the perfect mother, the perfect wife, the perfect friend, the perfect this and that. And it's just like, that's a lot. It's a lot. And you even said this to me, and I say this to my clients: before you were a mother or a wife, you were just you were just a woman. So we have to tune back into that, like that, our inner feminine, like our feminine side, are just, the I don't even know how to describe it, but like that female goddess in us. It's the perfect way I could say it.
And you're also the masculine warrior, because you're a mighty warrior. So I mean, we get so caught up in labels, and we get so caught. Like, I was a woman in corporate business. I sat in meetings with men. I could say something, they would go, no, that'll never work. Literally, this happened twice in one meeting. The man beside of me, 1 minute later, regurgitated what I said verbatim, accentuations and all. And they, oh my God, let's implement that. That's brilliant. Good job. Thank you. Happened twice in one meeting. And so what could I have done? Fight and say, I'm woman, you're going to hear me? I just watched it went.
Yeah.
I was in utter amazement. Eventually, I was no longer at that company. The container couldn't hold me, but I didn't need to fight it. At the same token, I ended up being an integral part of a team, whereas everybody would say my sentences for me, speak. Why? Because I took the lesser, I took the role of just loving, witnessing, sharing, and just let them do what they do. What's it to me? Before any label or defending this or that, I just am.
Yeah.
And if you just love me and realize I've been that, I was scared, I fought back, and it didn't feel right. Let them do what they do, and eventually it changes everything. How? That's back to how. Honesty, humility, openness, willingness, and wonder. When you're trying to figure it all out, it creates naturally a resistance to push against. And that's why we get exhausted and overwhelmed, because this ideals we're trying to grasp at what everybody's told us we need to be. Where is that? We're off center. Our power is given away to everything.
Yeah.
What does a perfect mom look like? What is a perfect business owner? What is that woman on the go? The I can. And we're lost. So it's simple. It's always simple. And the answer is always before you and within you. Unwinding the conditions is often very scary because, as I mentioned, you don't know who you are anymore, particularly if our identity is tied up as a mother in our roles that we play. And so it's letting all of that collapse in a loving way that allows the real you to come out and play.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
So Karen, where can people go to connect with you if they want to learn more about you and what you offer? Where can we send them?
I tell you, Karen at karenperry.me is an email, and my website is karenperry.me. So if you go to my website, there's some free resources there. Go grab them. 7 Principles to Peace, Joy, and Absolute Passion. As an ebook that's on that page, people can grab. Those are the easiest ways. And for your audience, I'd say the first 10 people, 10 sounds good, remember? That sounds like a good number today. The first 10 people I hear from, we'll do a session like you and I had. Wonderful. And I'll send them a link to schedule that.
I highly recommend it. So we will put that all in the show notes. And yeah, if you are watching or listening, connect with Karen, check out her free offerings, and be open. You never know the peace that you might find. So thank you, everybody who's watching and listening, and we will see you next time. Thank you, Karen.
Blessings.
Thank you for listening to the Fit Femmes movement. I would love to hear your thoughts on the podcast, so please leave us a review. And sharing is caring. If you know someone who may benefit from this episode, please share it with them. We need more women up-leveling to their highest selves with grace, courage, and ease. If you'd like to connect with me more and have access to free live trainings and join a community of hundreds of other amazing women, then join my free Facebook group, the Fit Femmes Tribe.